trying that shit on me. 'Cause I still can't sleep without medication, and I let my thoughts run wild while I still think I got one, and I hear too much about my reputation, and I'm tired of sleeping on this floor.
Hey everyone, this is Anthony with Interviews with Everyday People. If you're watching video, then you can see we have a really cool backdrop. I've had some cool locations before, but I think this might be the coolest so far. We are in the Majestic Theatre in Pottsville. I'm really excited about this. We're going to be talking about an upcoming play that's happening March 6th to the 8th, yes. And it's going to be Clue. And it's based off the movie.
Based off the board game, based off the movie,
Yeah.
based off the play.
Yeah, Tim Curry is God to me. He's as close as you're gonna get.
Legend.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's fantastic. So it's one of my favorite Tim Curry movies. It's hard to pick the favorite, but
I was gonna say, how do you pick?
Yeah, Clue is definitely up there. It's one of those movies that I think when it's on TV, you're like, well,
You have to.
I'm not leaving the couch now. Thanks a lot, whatever channel this is that put this on. Let's go around the table. We'll start with you. We'll go clockwise if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Nick. This is actually my first show at the Majestic Theatre. I'm not originally from Schuylkill County.
We won't hold it against you.
I know. Try not to. But yeah, I'm very excited. It's been a great experience so far, and I think we've got a really great show.
All right, everyone calls me Bevan, so we'll go with that. I've been working with the Majestic Theatre since 2015 when they did Rent for their summer musical. I'm usually here roughly once a year. And, I actually have a very good feeling about this because this is one of the only non-musicals I've done here, and I think it's coming together really well.
Mm-hmm.
They're just saying that because the director's right here. I'm Tori. I've been with the Majestic Theatre since 2014 as well for Rent. And before that, Lisa was my high school director. So that's why I'm here.
Because I make her.
Yes.
She won't let you go.
I keep having shows, so Tori will keep singing.
So you're the hired gun for singing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. If you introduce yourself.
I'm Lisa. I run the theater since July of 2017.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
How did this fall into you, like the theater?
Oh, well, I foolishly volunteered. I volunteered to be a manager of the theater, and that quickly escalated to, you will be the executive director of the theater, which is, I'm sorry, frightening. It was like frightening. I'm like, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. But it's fun.
Yeah.
We get to do really cool things like this.
Yeah. Is this the first podcast in the theater?
This is the first podcast
Yes.
in the theater.
Nailed
Yes.
it. Nailed it.
Yes.
I'm super happy about it.
And it really all came out of that conversation during Pottsville on Tap.
Yeah.
We had a little sit down, and I kind of forgot about it. And
Yeah.
then we were talking about ways to promote the show, and I was like, let's call.
Yeah.
Let's try that now.
Yeah, I'm super happy you reached out. I haven't personally been to the theater. I always share it though. So
Yeah.
I want to give, if your people are listening, a quick little social media tutorial. So if there's something going on in your area, even if you're not going to go, click interested. Because when you click interested, if you have 1,000 friends on your Facebook, all 1,000 people are going to see that you're interested in this show.
Yep.
And one of your friends may also be interested. And it's a great way for absolutely no cost in your pocket and nothing more than just a click of your finger to help promote something. Whether it be a local show, whether it be something like this, whether it be an event in downtown Pottsville, that it doesn't do anything, like even liking a page is super helpful, because if you like it, they're like, hey, Tony has now liked the Majestic Theatre. Well, what's the Majestic Theatre? Oh my God, there's a theater in Pottsville? I did not know that. I just thought it was a building that was there, and I didn't think they did anything in there. Because that's a true thing. A lot of people, that happens to people. Like the art block, the Walk of Art. Is it this way? I think it's
Block
this
of
way.
Art.
The Block of
Right
Art.
next
That
to
way,
it.
yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know that was a thing. And then the one day it was open and I walked through and I was like, this is fantastic.
Yep.
Like, more people should know about this. And that's pretty much the goal of what I'm trying to do with the podcast, is find these gems and find things like this to let people know about it. So yeah, definitely if you see shows like that, do it. And that's what I was doing for a while with the show. I was just hitting interested because you guys had like the David Bowie thing that I missed. I think there was a Queen. You had a Queen show?
Yeah.
We did We Will Rock You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss that. I
Yeah.
miss that one.
Like, and then you guys used to do movies.
Yep, we still do.
Now-
yeah.
Now, would you guys put like a screen up?
There's a drop-down screen right there.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we can't use it right now because there are flats up for the show this weekend. But the screen drops down, the projector is right there, and so they're like full-size movie theater size.
Yeah, my wife was super excited. She came and seen a lot of like the school, like the Brat Pack '80s movies.
I know,
and
that
she
was almost so much fun.
And she was like, just this like experience, because they're our favorite movies, but they weren't movies of our childhood.
Right.
They were a little past our time, but they're cult classics. And to see that again in a theater is a cool experience. Like to sit in a theater with a popcorn and watch a movie that's well past your time.
Yep.
The one I missed that I was super bummed about is one of my all-time favorite movies, The Warriors.
Oh,
I love The Warriors. And Charles.
Come out to play.
Yes, and Charles made a really cool poster for it. Charles Moran. He did like the cool little art for it. That art's actually being used by Patton Oswalt, the stand-up comedian,
Oh, really?
for his tour.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's like all the warriors and like the warehouse
Yeah.
fighting each other, like all the gangs. Yeah, but that's another cool thing you guys do here.
Bottles.
Yeah,
Clicking the bottles.
and that was all improv.
Oh, really?
It was an improv scene that wasn't actually, I think, supposed to happen. They were kind of there, and he was just kind of playing with them, and they shot it, and he's like, well, we're keeping
It's
that.
like that's like the thing that stands out in my head about that movie.
Yeah,
the most
that
is
and Can You Dig It?
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
It's a fantastic movie.
It is.
It's one of those ones I hate remakes, but I kind of hope they do it because I'd like to see a new spin on it. It could still be done.
It could be.
We have Bloods and Crips and MS-13s and Latin Kings. Just
Yeah.
get back to Coney Island from, that's the whole purpose of the movie. Is like they
We'll
had to get
film
back.
it in downtown Pottsville.
Yeah, we're not that bad. We're not that bad. Not like Philly.
No.
Just throw a shot at the boys over there, my Philly boys. I brought the Murder My Dudes guys along. They're helping behind the scenes, help me set up. So give them a plug real quick. Go check out Murder My Dude podcast. And Jack's secretly a huge, not secretly, he's a huge fan of Clue. It's one of his favorite movies. So he's really excited for the play as well. So. And as well as Brian. Brian actually told me about the play before you guys reached out to me. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. And
Thanks,
then
Brian.
Actually told me about it. And then the next day, as I got the message.
Oh,
that's so
really?
fun.
Yeah, it was like a weird, the
Coincidences.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what made you guys pick Clue?
Well, my co-director, Andy, Clue was actually his mom's favorite show. Andy Kelley.
I love
Andy
Andy.
Kelley.
He's a good guy.
It was his mom's favorite show before she passed away, and he had asked me, he said, if the rights become available, will you direct it with me for my mom? And I said, hell yeah, I will. So it's for his mom.
Nice. Yeah.
And we do a murder mystery every March. So that one came when they said that they wanted to do Clue. I was like, oh, perfect.
That fits the-
yeah. So we're just worked out perfectly.
It's kismet.
Without maybe spoiling, are you guys doing all like 127 endings?
We don't have time for that. I just got hives thinking about that.
Unfortunately, they only give you one.
Yeah. I always my favorite part of the movie, like, it's not over yet, and it's like another 20 minutes of endings. So are you also directing and acting?
No, it's just Andy and I are co-directing together.
Okay.
So I don't act in this one, I just direct.
Do you act in any of the plays?
Sorry.
I did. I hate. This is horrible for me. You have no idea how far out of my comfort zone.
You're doing
this is.
fantastic. I'm throwing you right in the fire,
You
if you
really
notice.
are. And if I didn't love these people, I wouldn't do it. But because I have horrible, terrible, awful, crippling stage fright, I figured it was about time that I attempt a show. So I was in Oliver this past November with 2 lines.
And she rocked those 2 lines.
And it was the most horrific, horrible, just awful experience. I'll never do it again. Never do it again.
It's great. It's
it
fun.
was like awful.
It's fun. It's fun that you're super passionate about making this theater thing and pushing it and going, but you have no ambition to ever get up there and do it. It's just like I'll help.
No.
I'll help it get accomplished, but you guys are the ones doing it.
No, I did it as a learning experience, and I did learn. I learned things. I learned that it really, really, really is really hard to keep your hands off the props. Like, it is so hard to not touch the props. It's like the number one thing you say to everybody. You say at the first meeting, please keep your hands off the props. If they're not yours, don't touch them. Oh, my God. You want to touch them. You just want to touch all the props.
Especially when there's weapons.
Yes. Oh, my God. So I did learn that it is very difficult to not touch the props.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm more
she was alluding to, like, you were her director back in. So where were you?
Mountain.
Blue Mountain High
Blue
School.
Mountain High School, yeah.
So you went from high school to this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. 2010 to 2015 at Blue Mountain, and then directed a few shows here, and then just took it over.
So kind of alludes to one of my questions. You're from Blue Mountain, the Blue Mountain Hair School District. You're not from School County. Where did you go to school?
Lincolnton High School, North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And you?
Pottsville area high school.
Pottsville area. All right, that makes sense. So my thing is like how you were saying, it's tough to get people to come out and do this. That is strange to me because local plays in this area, when it comes to the high school production, people go see them and they're really, really into it.
Mm-hmm.
And we even have awards shows for high school plays. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't translate over to this, which is I don't know what the disconnect is.
Well, you have pretty much a captive audience with high school because you have 30, 40, 50 kids in the show. So automatically all their families going.
Yeah.
And then all
All
friends
of their
are
friends
going.
in the different count and the different shows.
So it is a lot easier to put on and get an audience for a show that involves children because there's a captive audience there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder when you get adults, they're like, yeah, that's nice, but...
Do you have, do you go to, do people, I know you have 2 right now, because when I think of, the plays, it's really hard to nail down what school does the best because I think it's done very well throughout the county. Mm-hmm. I think when it comes to, which is insane because we're a sports-dominated county. Even when we're not good schools at sports, it is pushed very heavily. Mm-hmm. We lost, I went to Monte Area, and I think they just won their first game 3 years ago.
Oh,
you know what I mean? But as much as football and basketball was pushed on us, we had a really good theater program. Mrs. Sheeler did a fantastic job in Monte Area. North Schuylkill, fantastic. Shenandoah does a fantastic job.
I direct for Shenandoah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pottsville does amazing.
Yep.
Blue
Yes.
Mountain does amazing.
In the past 5 to 10 years, the quality of the shows has just grown exponentially.
Yeah.
They're amazing now.
Have you ever thought of doing co-ops with different schools? Because you kind of have that in hey, maybe do the best of people from all different areas and kind of use this platform as a way to do a youth show.
Well, we do.
The Majestic Awards.
Well, we have the Majestic Awards for, past couple of years they were showcases because we were trying to kind of step away from the awards process for a little while. Mm-hmm. So we do have the awards coming back this year. We do several youth shows during the course of a year, and they bring kids from all the school districts.
Nice.
We pretty much
do they do well?
Oh yeah, we just did Frozen this past weekend, and it was four sold out performances.
That's awesome.
It was scary. It was great, but it was really intimidating. So yeah, we'll do a summer camp this year in July. We're working on Peter Pan.
Okay.
We're considering Peter Pan a non-musical, which normally we don't do. Usually we do musicals, but I think that there are kids who don't get an equal shot because they aren't as musically gifted as some of the other kids. So we want to try to do a straight play to give maybe some of those other kids a chance to be in the spotlight instead of always being ensemble, which is still very important, but you get tired of being ensemble all the time. Yeah. So, and then Christmas Carol in December, which is an all-ages show.
Nice. That was actually my next thing. Was do you guys do shows where it's crossed with adult and youth? When you guys put out a casting call, hey, we need such as high school kids or this age?
Yeah. Well, like with Mamma Mia, the cast will be the leads will be 18 and over, but the ensemble is 13 and up. Just because we need a lot of people, we need dancers and singers. So that's kind of an all ages show. But yeah, I like mixing the two. I think kids learn a lot more when they're working with adults, and frankly, I think adults learn a lot from the kids.
Yeah.
So I like having those mixed casts. We did It's a Wonderful Life 2 years ago, and there was, I think, 50 people in the cast, and it was pretty much split between children and adults.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. I remember like going to school with some people, and they'd be like they were like football players or basketball players, and they'll still go back to like, yo, in high school when I played the flying monkey, like that's the first, like that'll come to their brain quicker than them scoring a touchdown in a high school play. I mean, there's definitely a niche for it in the area, which is very impressive, being
Very
that
much so.
this coal region area is very sports dominated.
Yep.
And I think creativity in this area is good, just in general. Like when it comes to music and it comes to singing and talent, this is a very untapped resource. And I think a lot of people don't give themselves enough credit because they're like, I'm from a tiny little coal town. Mm-hmm. But the best way to look at it is, I tell like musicians all the time, and it can definitely say for you guys as well, is we're 3 hours from 3 major cities.
Yep.
And those 3 major cities are always looking for people. You have Pittsburgh, New York, and Philadelphia. We're the central hub of that.
Yep.
And so the chances of being noticed or seen are there. You just got to put the work in to do it. And I think this is a really cool thing, and I hope more youth carry on to that and keep going. What was your first play you did at Pottsville?
Well, I was always afraid of getting into theater until my senior year, where we ended up doing Les Mis. Mm-hmm. I played the foreman in Claxo, and that was a very long and agonizing experience because that's a very complicated musical.
Yeah.
You have to make sure all the parts are correct. You have to make sure the props are accurate. And, your choreography needs to be on point. Otherwise, there are going to be a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a long journey, but I think it was a good one overall. And, you were talking about sports earlier. I played water polo for 3 out of my 4 years in high school. We're the only
We're
the only water polo team in the county.
They had one.
Well, they don't anymore. They did when I was in high school.
That's a shame.
And I was on swim team all 4 years. Now, swim team I remember a lot more, but I don't remember very many of my water polo games. I remember a lot of specific rehearsals from Les Mis, though, because it's a much more dominating point in my mind.
Yeah, I like how the high school directors and people that are involved in theater, they trick the boys into it. They're like, hey, need stage hands.
Mm-hmm.
I need and they're like,
right in.
you would be a great lead. And they're like, maybe I am a great lead.
I bribe my football players and basketball players with free pizza.
That worked every time. Everyone starts as a stagehand.
Yep.
My friend who like halfway through his senior year, he ended up being like the lead of every play, and they roped him in at rehearse a stagehand, and then he kind of seen their production. He's like, "This is fun," and they're like, "You want to go up and try and just do like a dance scene?" And then he's like,
They get
Just try
I
it.
get to dance with the girls, and they're like, "Yeah," and then
Sucked right in.
it's over, and they grab you. I was a very shelled kid in high school. I was very like, I hate this. I can't wait to be out of here. But I wish I would have.
this town.
I wish I would have participated more because I think I missed out on a lot of cool opportunities. Yeah. What was your down in North Carolina? Were you in the theater as well in high school? Was it a big deal?
It wasn't a big deal. Actually, my high school didn't have a theater program until I was a senior.
Oh wow.
I started with community theater, and it was a great group. And there's actually more theater groups around here than I expected there to be.
Yeah, I think there's like 4 or 5.
Oh, there's 9
more.
or 10.
Really?
Yes.
I was baffled when I found out how many were actually here. We had each town around where I grew up had a small one here and a small one there. So we would go travel 20, 30, 60 minutes to to a show every day to do rehearsals. But again, high school, I only had the senior year in there. The community was great. I started when I was 14. My first show was Into the Woods, and it's still my favorite show.
I love Into the Woods.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. Which one? What is that? Into the Woods.
Into the Woods. It's kind of like the real.
All the different fairy tales start interacting with each other. and make their own new story out of everything that you already know about them.
Oh, okay.
It's a very real take on
Yeah.
like fairy tales.
And it's more grim than
Well, the
Disney.
real fairy tales are really
Yeah, I
grim.
I
They
love
are,
the
like,
grim fairy tales.
seriously-
Like when they do and they make them scary. I'm all about it.
like when the stepsisters actually cut
their-
pieces of their feet off.
Yeah.
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 And Cinderella.
Yeah.
It's not like a comedy version of fairy tales like the Shrek movies are hoodwinked, though.
Yeah. No, not at all.
You just gonna
Like-
drop hoodwinked into here, man?
Like
That
the-
is an underrated masterpiece of the mid-2000s. I will not have any conversation otherwise.
the new Hansel and Gretel is terrifying looking.
Oh my
It
god.
looks awesome. Yeah, I think the Bloomsbury Theater Ensemble did the Grimm Fairy Tales. I didn't get a chance to see it though. That was like the show after the one I seen. But yeah, how we were saying in the area, the only ones I know of is here, Tamaqua. My friend Nikolai did Little Shop of Horrors, and he was Audrey. He was in
Audrey?
he was in the puppet because he's tiny. Yeah, but he does like. Now he does a lot of like he tries to do like extra work in movies and stuff. Is that something that you guys try to do as well, or are you trying to cross over? Or are you more just in the theater?
Just local community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I mean, if a couple of friends I knew were cinematography majors, they would have me participate as some roles in their film projects, but that's like the most I've done in that regard.
Oh, cool.
We do have some people who are involved who do, they get all the casting calls and they do like extra work on movies and TV shows. So.
Yeah, that's what he does a lot of that too. He works with a lot of cool stuff, and he's like, oh, I just an extra in this, and then we're like looking for him in the movie. Like he was in Gotham a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did Gotham, and then they actually called him back, and he did like 2 or 3 other ones.
Oh,
That's
cool.
so fun.
Yeah, it's cool. And he comes back and tells it's like really cool. Like, but that's his major love is like theater. He was big with like the Bloomsburg, and like when he went to college, he was in Bloomsburg. So that whole theater program over there, I guess, is like probably
it's
one of the
huge.
best around.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess technically I did cross over one time, and I'm about to say this for the first time in this room to everybody on this podcast.
There we go. Exclusive.
We won't
so
tell anyone.
I'm going to assume everyone here is roughly familiar with Dragon Ball Z, the
Oh,
anime,
yes,
right?
I am.
So I've always had a connection to this one small character from the first series, a character named General Blue, and I dressed up as him for the 2018 Comic-Con. Now, this was when they were doing a big tour across the country to promote the Broly movie, and when I got to the Comic-Con in my costume, I was actually, out of nowhere, a guy from IGN came up with me to the microphone, asked me which of the 2 main characters I thought had the better butt, and I had to respond in character, and this is on their YouTube.
Nice. You're a YouTube star.
It has like 28,000 views, but hey, that's more than I expected.
That's more than all of my videos combined.
Well,
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
Who had the best spot?
Yeah, who had the best spot?
Well, the world wants to know.
well, let's see here.
minds want it.
My answer was my boy Goku because he fell in the lava on his butt and he was fine. That was my answer.
You didn't do it in character though.
Yeah, I did. I'm so connected to General Blue, you can't tell the difference.
Okay. I even if you did it in character, I don't know who General Blue is. I wouldn't have known. That's awesome. The cons are fun. I went to one, and I thought I was going to have a better time than I thought I did, but it wasn't. The Comic-Cons are like if you take like the smell of an attic and the smell of not washed people, and you put them together. It was scary. It was terrifying. And I'm not one to stand in line for a celebrity, so I had nothing to do. They're like, we're gonna go stand in line for 4 hours. I'm like, for what?
I'm gonna walk around, I guess.
I was like, I'm gonna walk around and see 500 Deadpools.
Basically.
Yeah. And then every Deadpool wants to be the funniest Deadpool. They're just annoying at something. You're like, I get it, dude. Like, stop it. Yeah. So who are the characters that you guys play in Clue?
Well, I play Mr. Green.
Mr. Green.
Yeah, he's a pretty reserved and laid-back, kind of socially awkward guy. He has a severe allergy to cats and possibly to sunlight because he's not a big fan of social interaction. Really, I think it's a good character for me because, much like Mr. Green, I look for any excuse possible to get out of a social situation I don't want to be in.
I think you're typecasted here.
I would say so, yes, but I'm okay with that.
And who are you playing?
And I play Mr. Boddy.
Mr. Boddy.
He's the guy that gets everything rolling, pretty much.
Yeah. I wish I remembered all the characters from the movie as like I probably should have watched it, but I didn't have time. It was a quick put together. Yeah. Are you guys fans of the movie?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen it too many times, but I mean, it's a good movie.
There's a good cast in that too. There's a lot of
Yes.
really big names.
Madeline Kahn.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Love Madeline Kahn.
I'm excited
Ann
to see
Warren.
how you do like the trap doors and stuff, like they go through the painting.
It's gonna blow your mind on a community theater budget.
Yeah, that's the cool thing though. Is I like when it's
On our
kind of like
tiny little stage.
like I don't want to say low budget because I don't want to be disrespectful.
It's
but
low budget.
but
It's
like
okay.
but you when you use creativity to get the job done. You know what I mean? And I
Use cardboard and sweat.
Yeah.
You just stick it together and
duct
make
tape.
something out of it.
yeah
Duct
Don't forget
tape.
duct tape.
And duct tape.
duct tape and
Duct tape is
that's
important.
the
And
best.
then old paint you find under the stage that's been there for 10 years, but you have no other choice.
Well, frankly, it's in the storage closet.
filled with,
Now it's in the
But it's
storage
like 10
closet.
years old.
it's filled with lead.
We have more
Don't-
masks.
We encourage people not to lick
We
it.
have to put
Yeah.
a disclaimer in the program.
Don't eat paint chips if they're there.
Don't breathe when you're
yeah.
watching the show.
Don't lick the s-
Everyone
the
comes in with
scenery.
coronavirus masks on. Yeah. So how long has the prep been for this show?
A couple months. I honestly can't even remember when.
Started in December.
In December. I was going
Oh,
to say
wow.
October, but that was Shenandoah. So, yeah, in December.
Now, when you say it starts in December, is that the casting process and
Yep, that's auditions to casting to
Rehearsals.
Yep.
who are some of the cast besides these amazing gentlemen that you should really look out for on the show? Who is there any like, show stealers? We'll say, just trying to push people over that aren't here.
I know.
They all are.
Yeah.
They
all
all
said and
really
done,
are.
yeah.
I'm just like there's Nathan
Yeah.
Kraft, who plays Colonel Mustard. There is Jess Miller, who plays Mrs. Peacock. Brenda White, who plays Miss Scarlet. There's Joe McDonald, who plays Wadsworth. There's Megan McDonald, who plays Mrs. White. There's Gregor Gunnelson, who plays
Plum.
Yep, Professor Plum. You're here. And then
Totally
there's
gonna throw Brenda under the bus.
Oh,
so
Brenda's-
Brenda White, who plays
Miss Scarlet.
go was in a movie. I can't find it. The
When you started with Hugh, I thought you were going to say human centipede. I was like, oh my.
That's not a thing. Let me see if I
Let's
can
start a
find
rumor
it.
right now.
Her daughter told me.
I don't get people in the seats.
It's like a horror movie, and she was like, she screamed a lot in it.
It wasn't the human centipede. Well, depending on where she was positioned.
there's a lot of muffled screams.
It's gonna take
That
me a
was
couple
gross.
minutes. I'm gonna find it.
Don't Google that, kids.
I'm disappointed in myself. I work with kids, for God's sake.
Oh God, I lost the note, so I'm gonna have to kind of find it. But she was.
It was
she
like an
in
80s horror movie,
It was an
right?
80s horror movie, and it was like the Humungan or I can't remember. But so we're gonna try to find it and show it. But she's a movie star.
Nice. That's cool when you have that one person that you can kind of latch like hey, this person did this. Like like I said, like one of my earlier interviews I did, and Andrew Hubachek and he's worked with the Bloomsburg Theater Ensemble, and he played Zelda from Pet Sematary, and we got it around the same time the new movie came out, so it was like a cool like anniversary / new movie with the original cast member, and we had like we had stuff with like the what was it? There's a T-shirt company called Fright Rags, and they actually it's not very often that character gets put on a T-shirt, and they finally did it, so we're like, oh my
that's
god,
so
you're
cool.
on a T-shirt. So we got a shirt made, and then we got a custom pumpkin made. Like a styrofoam pumpkin with his image from the movie on and stuff.
that's
It was
so
really
cool.
neat, yeah. So when you do the casting process, you go through the whole thing. Now, how far after casting do you get right into work?
Right after. The rehearsals usually, I mean, the way everybody does it is different. I like to do things very quickly and efficiently. So it was when auditions come up, we do what are cold reads, which is we just printed out scenes from the show itself and said, go pick up packet number 2, look at it for a second, and go. And so they did that, and maybe it was we had 2 days of auditions, and it was about maybe like a half hour, 45 minutes at the most. And after the second round of auditions, Andy and I sat back there, and we were just like, ba 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 ba, and then like people were on the way home, and I was just like, do you want this part? And they were like, yeah, okay. And I was like, well, you got it. So
Yeah, I remember I just got home when you called.
I know. I was like, do you want this? And you're like, yeah,
For me,
okay.
it was like the next day, I think.
Yeah.
How did you find out about auditions?
My partner found it through Facebook.
Now, you live in the area now?
Yes, I live in St. Clair.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. How did you find St. Clair, Pennsylvania from North Carolina?
Well, when I was 18, I moved to New York, and that's where I actually met my current partner at. We lost touch. We got back together in 2013. His family lives here. He's from the area. He went to Pottsville area high school.
Okay.
So we moved back here, and he put it in front of me and was like, okay, I
Nice.
can't say no.
The rest was history.
Yeah, well, Clue is very near and dear to my heart, so
It's just called humongous.
he didn't,
it's this-
he's like, here you go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
That is
Nice.
I found a 1982 movie called Humongous. That's why I was wondering if that was...
I don't think that's it.
No, not called humongous.
It was a cheesier title than that. I remember you saying that. It was like the something, something, something.
Humongous. It
okay.
was this weird word that doesn't really exist in real life.
Now, when you went to New York, did you do theater there?
No,
No.
I'm generally in IT.
Okay. Now, being in theater and doing it yourselves, do you guys go to shows like Broadway or stuff like? Is that something you try to actively do?
Oh yeah.
What are some of your favorite ones you've seen?
I got to see Anastasia last year. This year, when we went, we saw Frozen because I went with the high school drama club, so we do one every year. And I also got to see True West, which was incredible, and I love Paul Dano so much. Paul Dano. So yeah, True West is probably my favorite.
Anything Goes has probably been the one I've seen most recently that's really caught my eye. But I've seen You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Everyone does You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, but I've seen one that just...
It's about Peanuts, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love Peanuts. I didn't even know they had a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
They
awesome.
do.
I think he may have found it this time. Because if this isn't it, it should be.
Yep. I
Yeah,
think
that's it.
That's the one.
He's like, what's the guy on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Jamie.
Look that up. That's Brian. Brian.
By the way, so there's a few things.
Horror of
You're
the
playing Mr.
Hungry
Boddy?
Humongous
Correct.
That's cool. There's
Hungin.
a guy named Lee Ving.
Pretty sure
That's
the
who
one.
was Mr. Boddy in the movie.
He's from
I gotta
Philly.
write that
So.
down.
Oh,
Yeah.
Horror of
So what was it called?
Horror of the Hungry Humongous Hungin.
That
Is
sounds.
that it? Horror
That sounds awesome.
of the.
What's the full?
Say it again.
Horror of the Hungry Humongous Hungin.
Hungin.
Hungry.
I'm gonna look that up.
The most ridiculous, most wonderful.
What are
thing
some
ever.
plays you enjoy?
Well, to tell you the truth, I wasn't too involved in theater up until I got a little bit older. I can say the only shows I've seen on Broadway through school trips were Aladdin and Wicked on stage, and I enjoyed both of them quite a lot.
I think I've only ever seen one play professionally. Besides Bloomsburg's professional, but like where we went to go see it, I don't even remember where it was. We went in school. It was Phantom of the Opera. Yeah. But I'm not so much like into musicals. Musicals are tough for me, unless it's like I guess like a Disney, I guess you could say, because some shows are just like instead of talking, they just sing their word. Like we are singing our words, and
like
I just
an opera.
and I'm just like I can't do that. Like it's just not my thing. But there's one right now that I guess is doing really well, and it's winning a lot of awards. There's a Beetlejuice one.
Oh my God.
They just canceled it, so it's almost done.
The
did
rights
they?
are going to be coming out soon.
Oh, are we doing Beetlejuice here?
Well, I think all the schools are going to try to snap it up. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't it like adult themed though? I thought there was kind of some adult.
With a lot, depending on like the actual rights that you get, there are, if they do like high school versions, or
okay.
like there can be stuff worked out where you can change like a curse word or a line that's not okay for a 16-year-old to say to like something else.
I mean,
like,
realistically, we're in school county. The kid's probably going to say way worse.
I mean, yes, yes, but it's more to save ourselves. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, you can't say that.
Well, didn't Shannon do a play? I don't know much, but did you guys do one about where people pee in the streets? You're in
That's
town
You're
or
in
something?
Town.
That's your.
They didn't do You're in Town. Somebody did.
I thought Shenandoah
Someone
did.
did Year in Town.
I
I
don't
thought
think she-
maybe
I
like
don't
years and
They
years
probably
ago.
did it years and years and years ago.
But isn't that play about like people peeing? Is it?
I honestly don't know. I don't know You're in Town.
It is.
I thought it was you're in town, or like, no, it's urine.
No, it's urine.
I was like, oh, that's cool.
I mean, but a couple years ago, Shenandoah did Sweeney Todd, which was just
okay.
big, and they actually, like, Sarah York had everything, like the chair, the actual fake blood, so it was
Nice.
very gory, and that's something that, like, carried over into School for Shakespeare. Like, they always do the, like, that's once a year at the England Mansion, and it's just, like, all the fake blood, like, the packets that go under, so when you hit it, it, like, goes out, like, there's hidden things that you hold, and it's just, like, everything is just so detailed, and it's just so good.
Yeah. And then I seen, this is not on a professional level, but a very, very comic version of it. I seen Hamlet at the Renaissance Fair. And they do it in front of the mud pit.
Yep.
It was the best. It was so much fun.
Brenda Moyer as Diana Lewis.
What was her name? Diana Lewis?
Brenda Moyer as Diana Lewis.
Diana Lewis. And she screams a lot.
Yeah.
From the humongous hungamoids.
Humongous hungry hungin.
Hungans.
The Hungamoids.
Yeah, the hungamoids. I think that was cooler. That's a
I
cooler.
think that's cooler. Band name called it.
Yeah,
The Hungamoids.
nailed it. We'll start it. You could sing. I heard you're good at it.
Oh my god.
No, not.
Because I definitely can't sing.
As far as cursing goes in regards to school-age productions, now I can't speak on behalf of most of the area, and I don't know if the school I went to still does this, but when I did do Les Mis, so we were uncensored for the actual show nights, but the week beforehand we were doing a preview for the students in the show, and we cut out the curse words in there just for that preview. Now, I can understand to an extent the idea behind this because, you know, there were some freshmen that may not have been exposed to the language yet, but keep in mind, the play, or the musical as a whole, and even some of the scenes we touched, they have loose themes of prostitution, attempted rape, war casualties, suicide, and borderline child abuse.
But
so
don't you dare use the Lord's name in vain.
you gotta pick your battles there, you know?
Oh, they said the GD?
they use GD.
And it's not like a no way.
No.
No chance.
Well, it's also hard too because like it's one of those things where when you're in high school and you have like you're allowed to say a curse word, it's like they really milk it. Like
go right for it.
Oh, hell is like, oh god damn, like they freak out and they really go and like, no, what we're not gonna do
like
is get me fired.
It's like the Kevin Hart skit where you tell your teacher
Damn,
I said
motherfucking business, bitch.
My mama told me.
I told you to say 1. You said 21.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's cool. Beetlejuice would be fun. If school started doing it, I would definitely probably go check that out.
Nose goes. I got it.
Now, how does that work when the rights come out? And is it like
It's like a mad dash.
like a
Yes.
crapshoot?
It's like a mad dash.
Now, if one school gets it, the other it's like the other school can't.
Sometimes it really depends. It depends on proximity of location. It depends
get a
on
little
the
bit
dates.
closer.
Oh,
Yeah.
It depends on.
Sorry.
I don't want to. It depends on the proximity of like the locations. It depends on the dates. Like Mamma Mia right now that we have for June has been done at Penn State Berks and Kutztown, like right in a row. So sometimes they're really free with those rights, and other times they're really stingy with them.
Yeah, it
So
really
it's
just depends on the show. It depends on
the
who
show.
owns the rights and who wants it.
But I mean,
to be
their idea is to make money.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to make money too, and the rights are extremely expensive, really expensive. Like an average musical is like $2,500.
Yeah.
Just for the rights.
Wow.
So, and that's before any production costs.
And a lot of the time, there's no budget for anything.
So a lot of it comes down to what the previous show does of what you can do the next one. Mm-hmm. So it comes down to you, the people, to come in here and support.
Yep.
I do like the move of bringing the candy store in. That was a cool move.
Thanks.
I like that a lot.
Yep, it worked
Very,
out
very
really well
nice
for
guy,
both
and he
of
has
us.
amazing candies.
Yeah, it made my life a lot easier. It got his, when he still had the store, it gave him a ton more exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And then when health issues made it impossible for him to keep the store, I asked him to move in here so that we still had.
Now, is
A
the
candy store.
is the candy store still open? Like people can walk down the street and the doors are open for them to come in, or only for like show days?
It's supposed to be open for regular business hours, but his health is
It's tough.
It's tough. So right now he's usually open when we have rehearsals, and then occasionally on a weekend, and then for the shows.
Nice. Now, one of the biggest challenges, to me, it has to be, is getting, especially with this play. This play has a lot of moving pieces, a lot of people, and that's not even counting probably people who are helping with stagehands and.
Well, I just want to plug real quick. Nick has made
Oh my
a
gosh.
lot of our props.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of the weapons, he's 3D printed.
Oh, you're
And
a
they're
3D printer.
incredible. He showed up to rehearsal one day with a duffel bag, and I'm like, cool, you brought a duffel bag, like, awesome prop. And it gets to his scene where Mr. Boddy hands out the weapons, and he just starts pulling out like these immaculate like gifts that are like tied with each color, and I'm like,
I know. I was there.
and I'm just like, oh my god! And now the actors open it, and they're like, there's actually a gun in here, and it's just like, and we just like all stopped for like 3 minutes, and we were just like, you're not allowed to leave, so like you stay forever.
We're gonna
You're
keep
here.
you.
Yeah, the
We're gonna
3D
keep you.
3D printers are insane. We had a
they're
kid
awesome.
on our show who had a 3D printer, and he printed out this cube. It looks like just a black cube, but it's a transformer, and it's printed like that, and like it prints. When it's done printing, it's just a black cube, and then when it's done, and it like I guess cures or whatever, you transform it into a giant robot. But it,
Oh my God.
But it,
That's
but it prints like the joints and the mechanics. I was like, that is incredible. Like he had a wrench, like it looks like a wrench, and you can actually like
Yep.
spin it,
Screw it, yeah.
and it prints like that. Like that's not like you print it and then put it together. Like the printer does that.
Well, one of my first dagger ideas was actually, it ended up being really long, but it ended up being in 4 different pieces that printed inside of itself. So when you pulled it out, it all came out.
nuts.
Yeah,
But it ended up being bigger than the box was. So.
yeah, yeah. Those things are.
I had to play with my 3D printer again.
And that's what it was. That's exactly what it is.
So,
Yeah.
but if you don't have a Nick that does that wonderful surprise that I'm very grateful for, it can be a lot, and it's a lot of what's in your attic, and do you have something in your basement, or does your grandmother want to get rid of a scarf? Like it's very much like that.
How many Salvation Army trips do you make a week?
A lot. Just from the years of doing it, it's just I live in my own apartment, but my closet at my parents' house is just still full of just old costumes and prop pieces and
Body parts.
Yeah, no, like actually, body parts.
I have an
Like
entire room in my house that is just dedicated to costumes and
because
props.
when you don't have the money, it's like finding a good prop piece is like gold.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like the Prohibition then too, where it's just kind of like, oh, you want to use this? Like you can use this. Like just make sure you have it back. And it's like
Yeah.
and we do share. Like the good thing is that, like I said, there's I think 9 performing arts organizations within a 25-mile radius,
Yep.
and we all do cooperate and we all share. And
So there's not like weird like beef if like you go work in Tamaqua, this place doesn't get. That's good because
No.
I know sometimes like we're big wrestling fans. Sometimes if a local indie wrestler works for one company and he goes and tries to work for another because it just he can get a couple bucks and he wants to keep doing his craft. It's like no, you don't work for the other guys. So I didn't know if that carried over.
No,
to
it's not like that because we are in the area that we are, and so we're already at a disadvantage. So that brings us all together.
we are very incestuous here.
Well, that's good that people work together. Like, I mean, realistically, we're we're podcasts, and probably in other situations, it's like, no, you guys are the competition. Where it's like, no, why do we help each other?
That's
you know
exhausting.
What I mean? And we work with each other, and we help each other. We help each other out. Like, yeah, it works better that way because it's obviously the more attention you can help each other out, and if you work
Yeah.
together, you can just make a better
something
product.
better.
Yeah.
And it helps when you really, really love the area. Now, I mean, like, there's a lot of people that don't like the area, and that's fine. It's your prerogative,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's when you really, really love the area and you just want it to succeed and be just a little bit more Renaissance, like
Yeah.
feeling like just
I look at it this way: is if you hate the area, either do one of two things: one, leave, or two,
Make it
Shut
better.
up.
make a change.
Or make it better.
Don't just talk. Don't talk a big game and say I hate this area. I wish it was this, this, and this. Go do something about it.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, getting the kind of going back to the question a little bit is getting everyone together in one room for rehearsals. How is that process?
With kids, it's easier because usually, like, unless they have sports or whatnot, or like lessons, whatever, they usually have most evenings off. But when it comes to like adults, you have work and different shifts and families and everything else. So it's basically you get everybody together on like a Facebook group or like at rehearsal and be like, what day is good for you? Crap. What day is good for you? Shit. This is like just trying to like go back and forth, and then you finally settle on 2 days of the week where some people aren't able to come, but it works out.
And then everyone shows up, and you're like, all right, we finally got everyone here. There's no messing around. We got to get this done
please.
right.
Yep, that's how we do it.
Yep.
That's exactly how we do it.
Yep.
We get right to work. We don't waste any time. We don't fool around. We just do our job. Yeah.
We don't spend an hour like laughing at like a fart joke at all. No, of course not.
We don't randomly shout our dialogue in a foreign language to see how people react to it. Nothing like that.
Reba. There's
so
a lot of goops on stage. Yeah.
What are some of the things, if people are listening or watching, that you're excited for them to kind of, without spoiling anything, like what are some main reasons why they should come see this show?
I mean, it's not like often I'm asked the question, but whenever somebody always like asks, like, "Oh, what's it about? I don't know if I want to come." It's just a matter of like things. It's like the psychological view of it. Things are really, really crazy in the world, and when you go see a show, especially a local show, it takes you out of reality for a second. And this show is just so delightful and hilarious. And I think this is probably the first show that I've ever been in that there are no duds. Like there are no like, oh, I guess he's okay. Like, yeah, we'll put him here. Every single person in this cast is gold. You're welcome. But but everyone is just so spot on, and everybody was casted perfectly, and it was just how the universe wanted it. And everybody, it's just, if you want to come out and have the best night that you've had in a very long time, forget all of your problems, and just laugh at people being ridiculous on stage, then this is the show you want to come see.
Yeah. Pottsville's doing an amazing. I'm from the other side of the mountain, so I know there's always that rivalry. Oh, the north
of the mountain,
north of the mountain guys. But I truly think like Pottsville's doing really cool things of trying to fix the downtown Pottsville area and put things in. But no matter how much work someone puts into it, it comes down to the people, and they have to go and support it.
You have to support it.
What is a ticket for a show?
Our general ticket price is $15.
$15?
Yeah,
not
like
bad.
we charged $10 for Frozen because it was an hour-long show, hour and a half. Our base ticket price is $15 for almost anything we do here.
Okay. Any intermission?
There'll be an intermission. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there like a meet with like? So I know like when we went to the Bloomsburg, like your first night, do you guys have like a meet the cast afterwards, or
They always hang after the show and talk to everybody.
like a Q&A?
Usually it's like when like we do bows and whatnot. It's usually like the light. We're all standing up here after we do the bows, and the lights come up, and we're just like, oh, okay.
Hi.
We go down, we see our family, and like the little ladies come up, like, you did such a great job. And
so
it's like,
fantastic.
yeah.
And there's like for Frozen, they were here for 2 hours after the show. So the show was only an hour and a half, but we didn't get to leave until for like 2 hours because people just stayed and stayed and stayed.
Nice.
And like we encourage that because we want them to.
I think the more you make
Feel
the people
welcome.
feel like they're part of it, they're more likely to come back.
Yep.
And it would be foolish not to, because they're the reason we do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. And you know, the hardest part of this is just getting the word out. Promotion and publicity is just
so important.
it's so hard. How to reach the newspaper really doesn't really work anymore.
And their local radio doesn't help.
Local
Very
radio.
well.
Yeah, no comment.
You're not the only one. You're
Yeah.
not the only one.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, we've done a little bit of television. We did some television advertising. I did not feel like that was that effective.
Yeah.
Social media really is.
It's the best. It
It
really
is the really the way to go. And how you open the show, I just posted yesterday that really the way you help us is to share our events.
Yeah.
Just share them. We have close to 3,000 followers for the theater on Facebook. We have about 400 on Instagram. Just one share, one share, and that person, just like that old commercial, you tell two people and they tell two people, and so on and so on and so on. That's what we need. We need a broader audience. We need to get out of Pottsville. We need to reach farther afield.
Yeah.
Because
Needs to be like Pottsville used to be.
we have 11,000 people in Pottsville.
Yeah.
And we're not a Pottsville theater. We're a county theater. We're one of 2 theaters in the county. So we need to be reaching farther than Pottsville.
Do you guys do collab? Like, I know you said the community is very close when it comes to other theaters, but like, you're like, hey, Tamaqua, you guys have a consistent base of people who come to all your shows. Do you guys ever do like a cross thing where you're like, can you help us promote some of our shows on your page?
I haven't reached out to them, and it's kind of stupid. I really should, because they do have a very loyal following. I'm not sure where the arts renaissance in Tamaqua started, but it's there.
Yeah.
They do a lot of stuff, and they have a lot of help bringing in acts. Like, somebody just told me how much an act that they had the Blues Brothers tribute band come in there, and that is so far out of our budget. I have no idea how they were able to bring them in, because I know what their ticket prices were. I know how many people they seat. They couldn't pay for them just based on that. But yeah, I think really reaching out to them to do some cross promotion would.
Have you ever
probably
tried
be helpful.
putting more local music in here, like a 3 or 4 bands on like a Saturday night? It would be tough because you don't have
Just me and
alcohol.
Al. Just me and Al.
Actually, somebody just walked in off the street the other day and asked if they could come in for a date in the summer with the Boys Upstairs and two other, I guess, solo acts. So yeah, we'll do more of that. We've had Classics Live in here a whole bunch of times, and they're all local. They were the David Bowie concert, the Pink Floyd concert, and the Alice Cooper.
The only thing weird with the music scene is people won't go to a show if they can't have alcohol.
We get, because we're a nonprofit, we get 7 event licenses a year.
Oh, okay.
We used it for Raymond this year so far, so that was like the only one we've done so far. I didn't do it for Clue, but you don't really need it for that.
No.
But for when we do the concerts, like we have Winslow, which is the Eagles tribute band, coming back in April, so we'll do alcohol for them. So we have to kind of pick and choose.
I think it was smart too when you guys did like the downtown, like when they had the Yingling event, and you're like, hey, we're showing the Marlon McGuire's movie in here. I think that kind of stuff is super smart because it was really hot. Did that work out for you? So people come in to get a beat the heat to kind of.
It wasn't great. People on events like that, they really just want to drink.
Yeah.
So going in here for 2 hours wasn't really.
Yeah.
A lot of those people came just for the movie and didn't stay for the event.
Okay.
So.
I know there's a big documentary out right now called Port in PA.
Yep. We tried to show it. The event fell through.
Really? Because I know Brewfest is coming up soon.
We did it. What was the organization that reached out? One of the organizations reached out. Schuylkill Greenways.
Okay.
Had reached out and asked if they could do this whole event along with Brewfest last year, where they tried to get people interested and like do this whole lunch with, like, we were going to have lunch here and everything, and it just didn't pan out.
Yeah. I love when people in the community are like, well, people don't try, they don't do things. I'm like, they do, you just don't go.
That's the worst excuse.
When you're trying to schedule, there is no way that anybody can tell me that there is nothing to do around here.
Exactly.
Because trying to schedule things on days where there's nothing is impossible. If you go just to Schuylkill, which is the, Schuylkill County nonprofit event calendar, there's literally like hundreds of things to do every month. I don't know how people choose.
Yeah.
It's
every weekend there's at least 4 or 5. I can tell you probably 6 bands playing this weekend in 5 different places.
There is so much going on here, and we did this youth summit thing here on Tuesday, and I try to tell them, if you're telling me you're bored, you're not looking. You're not looking. There is so much to do, and it runs the gamut from outdoor things to science things, to art things, to it's there. We have so much going on.
Or people come and they see a show and they're all of a sudden critics, and they're like, well, I would have done try running a show. Run a show.
Always. But we have movies here. We have free movies here. We've had movies that we charge a couple of bucks for. We have movies. Nobody comes.
Yeah.
Literally no one. For those $2 Tuesday movies, and I don't care. I do usually when I do things, I do them selfishly.
Yeah.
I showed movies I wanted to see, so I didn't care if nobody came to see Breakfast Club. I was going to be sitting here watching Breakfast Club.
That's my favorite movie.
So favorite, and we did 16 Candles, and we did Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I love Ferris. Is probably I'm a Breakfast Club person. Ferris Bueller's my number 2, and my wife is number 1 Ferris, and her number 2 is is Breakfast Club?
Well, Shenandoah is doing a mini-thon here, so they're doing Ferris Bueller on March 13th.
As a play?
No, they're doing
Oh.
it as a movie to raise money for Thon.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Breakfast Club would be a cool play.
You
Wouldn't
can't
it?
get it. I tried.
Really?
So
Yep.
dumb.
The rights aren't available. They have
There's 2 scenes.
The only way...
You don't have to change any
I know.
props or any
the
scenes.
only way you can do Breakfast Club is if you do a parody. I looked into it because I was like, that would be the perfect play.
Oh,
it would be
my
the
God.
Get me a
perfect
pen and
play.
paper. We're
I
about to
know.
write
We are
ourselves
gonna
a
write
parody.
ourselves a parody. The
For
Brunch
2
Club.
months. For 2 months, I got you.
Brunch Club.
Don't mess with the bull, young
mess
man.
with
You
the
get the
bull.
horns.
You get the horns. But but nobody comes. So, even the free movies, we did Infinity Wars last year. We showed Infinity Wars. We showed
And that didn't do well?
Top Run movies. The most people we had that showed up for a movie all year last year was Nightmare Before Christmas, and we showed that on a Friday night Pottsville football game, home game,
Ooh.
and I thought nobody would be here. We had 75 people show up.
Horror movies do really well.
Yeah, but when we do the free movies, we try to do family friendly.
Kid-related.
Yeah, like
You know?
So I know a thing that they used to do at the Fractal Movie Theater. It didn't kill, but it did really well with a certain 50 people every year, and they would do a Dusk Till Dawn horror movie marathon. And you show up at 7:00 at night, and it ends at 7 in the morning, and you're in the theater the entire
Lisa,
night.
can we do that?
If somebody else is going to stay here, yes.
I'll stay here.
I'm not doing it.
And
I'll do
literally they would put Night of the Living Dead. They had the original Halloween, The Exorcist, these movies that you would never see in theaters again.
The issue with that is that each of the rights for those movies cost about $300 each.
Yeah.
So, it's
Fundraiser.
I know.
Fundraiser.
It's they're always people will say, "Oh, you should do this," but you have to have
Yeah.
Everything
you have to
costs money.
know that, and I mean a lot
Yeah.
of money. They're not cheap.
If you're listening to this, because I know I don't want to put anyone's name out there, but I know there's a few people out here who are very, we'll just say for the Dusk Till Dawn thing, right? You're a horror movie fan, and this is something you want back. Because I know you were a fan of it at the movie theater. If you're creative and you can make something, or you can come up with a good idea, or any movie, if you want a movie in here, and it does cost money to do it, but you gotta not take over the whole event, but help out a little bit. Kind of take initiative. If you want this to be a thing where you can come see movies again on a Friday night, we got to put the word out there. We got to make it a thing. So it's not so much on them as the theater owners. It's on us as the people and the community. If you want this to be a thing, you got to work for it just as much. If you want a business to be successful, you like going to the Crimson House. You like going to no longer there, but the Greystone. It comes down to you as a person to frequent that business and keep it going. You want, we don't have hardware stores no more. That's because you go to Home Depot and Lowe's all the time, and you go to the main guys, or you go to
Quit bitching about Walmart
Yeah.
and actually come to
Yeah,
one of the
you-
downtown shops.
you go to Walmart, or you go buy Scentsy candles, and you don't go across the street to Loki and Layla, which will offer the same
I
thing.
love Loki and Layla.
I'm a huge Loki and Layla fan.
You complain about how GameStop gives you no money for trade-ins, but you don't go to any kind of smaller place,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, dude, I go to that dude on the
Heck
corner
yeah.
and buy movies and games off him all the time. Yeah.
And speaking about the community, before I forget, sorry,
Yeah.
I want to, just before I forget, Abby at Pressed
Oh my
Coffee
God,
and
fantastic.
Bookstore did a collaboration with us.
I seen that, the photos.
Yeah, where they took photos and they had, each of the characters had their own special drinks.
Yeah.
And did a collaboration with that. So huge shout out to them. And then also shout out to Art of Escape in Pine Grove, which is the county's only escape room.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome. And I reached out to them and they actually had a Clue themed room, and it's still they're still tweaking it a little bit, but we went in and they were just so accommodating and just wonderful people, and it was just wonderful. And so just go check them
Pine
out.
Grove's a cool little town.
Yeah.
I
is.
never went to Pine Grove. I went to the Pine Grove for the first time in my entire life 4 months ago, and lived in School County my
man.
whole life. I was like, they have a movie theater, they have a
They
bowling
have
alley.
a bougie movie theater.
Yeah, they have a bowling alley. They have they have some cool. My buddies, I have a friend that has a tattoo shop there, and I actually did a podcast in the tattoo
On
shop.
that main
Abaddon.
budget. Yeah.
And then before we started, we walked down to the craft store where it's just all local people who make crafts sell in this place, and they have 2 escape rooms. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I bought a bunch of craft sodas and stuff. Yeah, there's so much cool stuff in the area. You just gotta go look for
so
it.
much. There's
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's frustrating when people say that there's not anything
nothing
to do,
to do.
because it's I'm just
liars.
I pull
Yeah.
out my phone and I'm like 1, 2, 3, it's right here.
Yep.
People cry and they bitch about social media and say social media is not good and social media is not. It's not good. It's not good if you're not using it the proper way. If you're looking for drama and you're looking for negativity, you'll find it. But if you're looking for like, hey, how can I find something to do this weekend, or hey, how can I go do something with someone, or like right now, like the biggest thing is Skooky. Not Skooky, because I know there's a little drama there, but there's a new like food page. That people are
Scoop Eats.
Not
Foodies, the Foodies,
the Scoop
right?
Foodies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the lady who runs it, but she's doing a crazy good job. I guess it's not. I guess the last one had some drama. I don't know. I'm not into it. But
It's exhausting.
People are going out more in local places to be their own critic. And they're reviewing and taking photos of the food and say, we had a great experience, and they're being super positive, which makes more people go to local business to buy food.
Yeah.
Like, do the same thing with this. Like, I seen a movie here. Like, it doesn't have to just be food. It just go. There's so much cool stuff. Like, if you're not a drinker, but like, hey, this bar did this, or like this has a show here, or there's so much cool stuff, man. It just
Or like I'm sorry, shameless plug, but for Martian Materials,
Yeah.
go in there and hold a piece of the moon. Hi, Roger. Like, it's like,
did a podcast there as well.
I love Roger.
I set up right in front of the pinball machines.
I love it.
And that's
But-
the cool thing too. He has an old school arcade, and he charges you $0.25 to play it.
Yeah, and the art gallery in there.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much. It's like,
Walk-in Art Center in School Haven.
yeah.
Awesome. And I'm not even an art person, but it's a good time. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much cool stuff in here. You just got to look for it. Anything you guys want to add in closing about the show or to get out there?
Show dates are March 6th at 7 o'clock, March 7th at 7 o'clock, March 8th at 2 o'clock. And tickets are available online at majesticclue.brownpapertickets.com.
Nice. You know anything else?
Follow the Tommy Knockers on Facebook.
Tori sings.
Is that your
She
band?
has a
and
duet.
Al Miscannon.
That's your band, the
We
Tommy
have a
Knockers?
duet.
Al Miscannon.
He was in a lot of.
He's in a lot of shows.
He's in a lot of shows here.
Was he?
He's a Shenandoah native.
I know Al Miscannon. He was part of a
Tall guy.
He was part of a radio station for
Yeah,
a while
he
called
was.
Absolutely.
iRock Radio,
Yep.
Yeah.
which
Yep.
I also did a podcast with.
Oh,
I
it all
get
comes around.
Full circle. Anything you want to get out there and plug or put out there? No?
Maybe how great your director is. I'm just saying.
She is.
Thank you.
He's starting a 3D printing business.
Yes.
What would you tell the people about why you think it's important to come see the show, or what can they expect, or besides the cast being all fantastic?
Well, you can expect a good time.
Yeah.
You want to go out Saturday night having a good time. You're not going to have a better time than this show.
No.
I mean, granted, we're not going to have alcohol.
You don't
but
need
you
it.
don't. You don't need it.
No.
You're going to be in stitches
You're
from
gonna
the
be punch
moment
drunk.
Yeah.
from the moment that we start. You're going to
the
be
show ends at
just
what,
laughing.
9 o'clock? It starts
Yeah.
at 7,
Starts at
ends
7,
at 9.
ends around 9.
You have plenty of time to go to the bar after.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you have
And-
plenty of time to go before.
Yeah, and then you can go to the bar after and go tell everyone at the bar that this is a great experience and you had a great time.
Come back. Yep.
And then come back tomorrow.
Yeah, I've done a lot of theater. I mean, local theater, not anything crazy, but this has been the funniest show that I have
Clue's a funny movie.
It
ever
is.
been a part of, they're very distinct characters, but it's the actors that we have playing them. I've never seen something funnier. Like, and it may be because they're all my friends,
Yeah.
but
Does it ever leave the stage?
always. You mean like
Here, yeah,
Like during the show.
because our stage is so
Oh,
small.
yeah.
We use
We have to.
Like when he in the movie when he's running from room to room to explain things, like he runs up to and then runs back down.
There are definitely times
there's
when
awesome.
There's a little bit of crowd interaction.
Cool.
little crowd surfing going on.
All right. Last but not least, what do you got?
If you're used to shows where it's generally like 2 or 3 people that are main characters and everyone else is ensemble, you're going to be blown away by this because you don't really get that. This is a show where like 90% of it is the same 6 or 7 people interacting the entire time, and then like another 70% you have an 8th person that's with us. So it's a pretty well organized experience, and you don't usually see that in performances.
And multiple dead bodies.
Yeah.
Lots of dead
So
bodies.
much death, guys. It's so great.
I would love to see like when someone is now dead and they have to lay there the whole time. And they
or when a dead body falls like through a window onto somebody.
Yeah.
Or just
Off the couch.
moving dead
Yeah.
bodies around. It's real slapstick. It's so good.
If I was a dead body, I'm telling you right now, I would take a nap. I would just,
Just be an actual dead
yeah,
body.
I would just go to sleep.
Just put me down, old Yeller style. I'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna be here for a while. I know. I've seen the movie.
If I snore, just slap me. It'll be fine.
Imagine that, like invisible.
I'll tell you what, playing a dead body after we've been running around for so long, like that's crossed my mind a few times. Just like I could just lay here
Just take a
forever.
nap, a little rest.
Well, I really want to thank you guys for having the podcast
Thank
on.
you.
And,
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
And anytime you have any other things or anything going on, shoot me a message like, hey, can you do me a favor and share this? I will 100% do it. I do a thing too I like to do when I do a podcast with somebody. I invite. So I'm that jerk on Facebook who invites you to pages all the time. You stop doing that. Then unfriend me because I'm not going to stop. So if you're on my friends list, expect a mass invite to the Majestic
Thank
Theater,
you.
and we'll try to bump your numbers up and get more people to support it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and anytime you have something going on, let me know. It's not very hard for me to bring all my stuff, and we'll talk and have a good time again.
Cool.
All right?
Do
love
you
it.
interview like not just like adults, like
I try not to do anyone under 18 for
Gotcha.
interviews.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I think YouTube has this thing with like children.
Yep.
And
everything
some of-
has a thing with children.
yeah,
Yes.
and which is smart, obviously, because
Yes.
I guess some people, like parents, will put their kids on the internet and use them
Yep.
for money, which it doesn't happen in
Sickos.
acting, all right?
Never.
Never, never.
But another thing too is my YouTube channel has all 4 of my channels on it. And we're not always super PG,
Gotcha.
and we
That's
drink
good
beer.
to know. That's
so
good
I
to
try
know.
not. Yeah. So if you're our fan, obviously, if you're listening, there are other shows. There is strong language, but
And if you're under 18, go to bed. You have school tomorrow.
I feel like we joke and make strong language, but it's nothing you're not going to hear anywhere else. And I think the overall overtone of all of our shows is very positive. We may not. I mean, I'm Irish Italian. It's not my fault. I
Hey,
talk
me
like
too.
this. You know.
Everybody else in the county too.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much. Definitely come check out the show. All the links will be below. You can go follow everything. Click it, take you right to the pages, the Facebook page. Give it a like. Just support it. Like I said, if you're not going to show, hit the star. Just say you're interested and share. Let your people know it's there. You know what I mean? Just help local community. Like it's not going to get better if you. And it doesn't take much for you to do it. It takes literally one click of your finger. And don't cry when people send you an invite to their page. Just hit like on it because somebody else might be interested in it and it might help them out. But that's I'm off my soapbox. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
What,
Thank
did
you.
what did you think of your first podcast?
Thank you, guys.
Was it terrible?
Awesome.
You did fantastic, and you were so nervous.
Thank you.
Do you
did.
see how she like slowly like more and more angled
she got-
herself
yeah.
this way so
Yeah.
the camera was,
Away from
and
the
then he was like
camera.
moving and you were like shit.
You all did fantastic, and I look forward to coming back and doing something else here.
Anytime.
Awesome. See you guys next time.
Thank
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 you.
you.
And I just wanna get off of the floor. And I just wanna get off of the floor. 'Cause I still can't sleep without medication. Can't let my thoughts run wild while I still think I got one. And I care too much about my reputation. And I'm tired of sleeping on this floor. Yeah, I'm tired of sleeping.